Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda and I am here with my weekly wrap up. And I'm going to start by saying this might be a jumpy video because yesterday I got hit with a wall of allergies, which I'm still dealing with. So I have been hacking and sneezing and all that. And you don't need to see that. It's just not pleasant. But there you go. That's what's going on in my life as far as that. Also, it is mid-month book bash, so I am starting that vlog today, which is Friday the 7th, and you'll see the vlog next Thursday. And what else? What else is going on in my life? Next Monday, I'm starting a little thing for the next couple Mondays in March called Mondays on the Moors. So I'm doing March on the Moors. T-shirt check. Got another Brontë shirt on today. All the Brontë novels. It's March on the Moors, and I have Brontë stuff I want to talk about, but I couldn't really figure out where to fit it all in. So I'm doing Mondays on the Moors, so I'll be talking about that. I'm going to talk about one of the books that I will be talking about today when you see this, so a little sneak peek on that. Otherwise, this is going to be a quick video because I don't know how long my voice is going to hold out, and I have to go to the library. So let's get down to the books that I finished this week, and I finished 4 books. The first one is this one, which is for March on the Moors. So I'm not going to talk that much about it. You can see it on Monday in that video. But this is the Brontës, Children of the Moors. Yes, it is a picture book. However, it is definitely a picture book for older middle graders. So it also counts for middle grade March. I have thoughts about this, but I talk more about it in that video. The TLDR is that it is a good for what it can do. It's just that, are the Brontës really picture book friendly subjects? I don't know. You'll have to see that video. So yeah, also this one's going back to the library. So there's that. The next book I finished is a book that has been recommended to me several times, and I finally got to it. And that is, let me see if I make sure I get the author's name right. I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Harpman. She's a Belgian writer, and this is a dystopian novel, for those of you who don't know. A lot of people have read it. I shouldn't say most people, but it took me a while to get to it. And it starts with, the viewpoint character is this teenager. She lives in this underground bunker with like 39 other women. They don't know why they're there. She has been there for as long as she can remember. So ever since she was a little child, this is all she's known. And, it's dystopian. Something happens, they're able to escape. What happens? It is a very profound book. I really enjoyed it. I will say my brain got in my way sometimes. So this is not a criticism of the book. This is just the way my brain works. There were certain things that were going on. I'm like, but why is that still happening? And they were little details that aren't really germane to the plot. They're just there. It was kind of like, look here, here's the plot, but over here's a squirrel. That sort of thing. So that was my own brain kind of getting in my way there, but again, not a fault of the book. That was a me problem, but I did. It is definitely worth all the hype. It is a beautiful book. Really, it's weird to say I enjoyed it, but it's good. I would definitely recommend it. And then on audio, so it's over there. My postal book group, we had this other Eden by Paul Harding, which I was a little worried about how I was going to fit into my reading. So I just decided to get it on audio. It was available at my library. And so I did the audio version of it, which was, I think, probably an okay way of doing it. Probably would have, I don't know if it would have been better had I read it. I enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it. Great sense of place, interesting characters. The audio problem with me is that one day I was really tired and I fell asleep during part of it. So there's a hole in it. I don't know what happened because I fell asleep. Sorry, I need to bring my squad out again. But it was, definitely, I don't know why I was resistant to reading this book. Everyone I know who's read it has really liked it. And I did really enjoy it too. It's a bit of a slower book. That's kind of how I saw it. More of there are things that happen, but really it's a more meditative book, which I do like. So yeah, that was kind of a hit book for me. Boy, this is going to be a really quick really quick video. Sorry, my voice is going. But I can talk about this next one. So the fourth book I finished was my Agatha Christie book for the month, which is The Hollow. Actually, I don't know how much I can talk about this because I really like this book. And one of the things is Agatha Christie did something in here that I really liked, but I can't tell you about it because that would spoil the entire book. So there you go. The premise of this book is there's this sort of like weekend at a state sort of party. There's a group of people going. Some are family members, some are friends, and it includes this doctor guy who has a wife, but he's also having an affair with this other woman, and things are going on, and someone else shows up, blah, blah, you know, things happen. And also, Hercule Poirot is invited to this, like, the next day. Like, he bought the house next door, apparently. And Hercule Poirot shows up, and he's kind of mad. Like, he walks in, and he sees this scene of, like, there's a man bleeding out next to the pool, there's a woman holding the gun, and there's another woman, and he's like, this is very insulting. I come here and you like put this scene up and you think I have to solve it. And he thinks this is all just an act. And then he realizes it's real. So that someone has shot this guy who was the doctor who's having an affair. And, you know, he's not the inspector in charge on this. He's sort of like consulting, I guess, on the case. There's another inspector who's in charge. And so that's where it goes from there. I'm not going to say more because, you know, spoilers. Things that I did like about this book, this has a really good balance of Poirot versus the rest of the book. There have been books where Poirot overpowers the mystery. And there are books where Poirot is barely in it. And so this is a book that has a really good balance of Poirot versus the rest of the book, especially since he's not the one actively solving the mystery. I mean, he is the one who ultimately solves it, but he's not the inspector in charge. And so I really like that. I think she did that really well. The characters in it are very colorful. They're a little cartoony, I guess. They're kind of like the sort of characters you'd expect in a setting like this, right? But they're interesting enough and they're done well. And I believe, I need to go back and check, and I meant to do that and I forgot, but I believe the family that's hosting the Angakells, I'm saying. Anyway, I think they first show up in Murder in Mesopotamia. I need to go verify that. I could be wrong. Anyway, so that's all good. I did think it was a good mystery, and Agatha Christie did something really interesting with it, which I appreciate because Agatha Christie wrote like 60-some mysteries, right? And after a while, you run out of interesting things to do. Yes, you have your very interesting ones that really stick out. I'm thinking mostly of Murder on the Orient Express, Murder of Roger Ackroyd, and Then There Were None. This one does that too, and I don't see this one getting quite the buzz about that the other ones do. But what is done is a little bit more subtle, but it is still really interesting. Now, sorry, the garbage truck is coming. I never timed this right. What I don't like about this book is casual droppings of the N-word. Why? I mean, it happens a couple times in this book, and I'm like, it doesn't even need to be there. Like, it's not, it's an insulting word. It was insulting then. We know it was insulting because, and Then There Were None came out 6-7 years before this, right? And the first title, the original title of And Then There Were None, which has had 3 titles, I believe. The ultimate title was And Then There Were None. Before that, it was 10 Little Indians. And before that, it was 10 Little N-words. And she was told at the time that, no, that's not a cool word to say. And she did so much better lately. And then, boom, they're back in here. And I'm like, Agatha, come on. Really? There's also, in one scene, there's a character who's painted in a very negative light. And that negative light is equated with Jewishness, which also I thought Agatha, this book came out in 1946, so it was written during World War II. And Agatha Christie herself, like, yes, Agatha Christie has, especially her early books, is sometimes very painful to read, but she herself is someone who recognized the errors of her ways. And one thing was she realized, you know, during World War II, or maybe shortly after, when she realized what was happening to the Jews in Germany, that, oh, maybe I shouldn't be so anti-Semitic. And she got a lot better after that. So I thought she was already on her way of being a lot better before this. It is not as bad as it is in some of her other books, but there is definitely a character who's a negative character, and one of the, you know, her Jewishness is part of that thing of her being negative, being portrayed in a negative light. Very minor character. I think it's like a character who's just like in a scene, but still, I was like, Agatha. But other than that, great mystery. And I always kind of feel like there's so much discourse around, should you change these things in these books being any book. And I don't think you can make a blanket statement on this, but I will say for Agatha Christie herself authorized these changes. Sorry, had to wipe my nose. Agatha authorized changes along these lines in her life. So I personally feel it's okay to change them in Agatha Christie's case. I know other people don't agree with me, and that's fine. This is just where I'm coming from. Especially like in here and her casual use of the N-word, where it has nothing to do with anything. Nothing whatsoever. You could swap that out for something else and it would be perfectly fine. No one would notice a difference. It does not impact the plot at all. So that's where I am with it. I guess I can say I'm reading the original text because it still has all that stuff in it. I do know that William Morrow, who is the current publisher of her books, and these are all, I usually get the William Morrow editions. The ebooks, they are starting to change. And this is my other thing with this, is again, I'm just talking about Agatha Christie books right now because I'm not going to go into any of the other ones. With Agatha Christie, as I said, I'm generally okay for them changing it. But I do want them to say that they have changed it. Just say, look, this was changed for whatever reason. Again, I can't think of any case where I have read any of her books up to this point where she has said something that is now considered wildly offensive that it really was impacting the plot in any way. These are just sort of like weird things she says. So that's where I am with that. Anyway, got my Agatha Christie done for the month. And I would recommend it. It is a pro, as I said. So The Hollow. Yeah, and that is what I have done this week. You're going to see a lot more on my weekend because it's mid-month book bash. And hopefully I will start feeling better and not sounding like this. So I'm going to stop this now because I'm about ready to cough and sneeze and hack, and you guys don't need to see that. So I hope you all have a great weekend. You will see my weekend on Thursday when I do the vlog, and subscribe, join my Discord. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.